All right. Welcome, everybody, to tonight's Team Aftershots Zoom call. It's April 4th, which is awesome. I don't know, this year's going by so fast. I can't believe we're three months in already. So anyway, so I do have lots of that I want to share tonight. First of all, I do just have to say, like, when I first started as a coach, I got like how awesome and knowledgeable Mike Ryan was, and how like awesome it was that we had him in our upline and we could like message him or reach out to him for help or answers or whatever. And then as like my team got bigger and like Team Victory got bigger and like whatever, and then it was like we started diving more in with like Team Victory All-Stars and Anna and everything. I kind of like totally stopped really realizing that like Mike was there as a resource and whatever. And so when he came here this weekend, it was just like seeing all the local coaches, their minds were just like blown away. Like at the Diamond Dinner, it was just like he just had everybody like captivated and amazed by everything he had to share. And I was just like, holy crap, like this guy is like I have like direct access to him all the time and I don't even use it. And I just kind of like, slapped myself across the face for like not totally realizing that. And so I just wanted to start with that because I feel like I haven't, I guess, edified him enough to you guys. And because he doesn't do like all the, the training videos and whatever like Anna does, you don't see things from him as often as you do from her. And so, so I just wanted to throw that out there to start with because it is amazing. And he absolutely is like more than happy to help anybody else. So don't ever be afraid to reach out to him. I know that he would be more than happy to help out in any way, even if it's just like some sort of question or whatever. So if you didn't see the Q&A video that I did with him, I post on the team page, make sure to watch that. There were some really good questions. And really good answers. Yeah. And then also to that, I did just want to throw out there too, that one of the big things I realized that I did when I first started like treating this business seriously as a new coach. So I signed up to coach at the end of December 2012. It was about April 2013 that I finally actually started like really taking it seriously and started, just a second. I just want to see and make sure. Okay. I saw Kylie comment on my post. I just want to make sure that like there wasn't like anyways. Okay. Sorry. I got distracted. So anyways, yeah. So one of the things that I did when I started finally taking this business seriously and like doing the things is I made the calls non-negotiable. So every Monday morning I was on the national wake up call no matter what. I was working full time at the time. So I was usually taking that call at work. Whatever, it was really kind of no different than listening to music, except for it did obviously take a little bit more of my attention. But anyways, that's what I did. And then every Monday night, I also listened to the Team Victory call. The Team Victory calls are something that kind of like fell off for a bit in the last couple years or whatever. But they're back now. I noticed like he's doing them every single week again. And they're on Monday nights and they're 30 minutes before this one. And if you've ever met Mike, you know that he does not like he doesn't talk short. So the call I know is never half an hour, it's always longer. But anyways, so I'm gonna be kind of figuring out how I can reschedule this one. Maybe we'll switch back to Sunday nights, which I switched from Sunday nights because Anna was doing Team Victory All-Star calls on Sunday nights, but now those aren't like a recurring thing, so maybe I'll switch to that because I do feel like it's important to have like the smaller team aftershots call as well. But I also don't want you guys missing out on the Team Victory calls and stuff like that because that was what did it for me. Listening to Mike Ryan talk for an hour to an hour and a half or however long he would make them every single week, like helped me so huge, you guys. And when I started in April 2013 and started like taking this business seriously, I went diamond by August. Like that's pretty quick, right? In April 2013, I had signed up my mom and Dell and I was emerald. And then I was diamond by August. And that was just one of the things that definitely contributed to it, was listening to those Team Victory calls every week, listening to the national wake up call every week as well. And also, of course it's everything, right? It's the 3 vital behaviors. They're all, well, there's 4 now, but they're all vital. Absolutely. It's just like, it's like when you go to the hospital and you get your vitals checked, you need all of them, right? Like you're not going to work with one missing, but yeah, so that was the thing. And that was just a piece of that. And it was just, it helped a lot. And I know that it did. So I just wanted to share that. So for you guys, like getting on this call, I know that it helps. Those of you that are typically on this call seem to, have a bit more progress and stick to the business a bit more than those that aren't and stuff. So, I notice those things, and it's not a coincidence. It is, like I say, though, it does come down to doing all three vital behaviors. But anyways, so first I just did want to share an aha that I had about how I finally became consistent this year. So for like the last 3 months, I have been 100% consistent. Like even when I was in Radium the week before last with no Wi-Fi, and I still managed to get my stuff done. I still managed to start at least 10 new conversations on Instagram every single day while we were there. I still managed to, add my at least 3 new contacts every day, send my 3 new invites, have my coach conversations. And normally in the past, that would have been like, I wouldn't have done that stuff, right? Because I really have not been as consistent as I should be or whatever. And so the first thing that I want to mention about that is that you're going to think that you're being more consistent than you are. So that's why it's so important to track. And I know I mentioned that a couple team calls ago, but seriously, honestly, I thought that I was more consistent than I am. And then I went and looked back over the last years. I'm just going to mute my phone so that it's not going off while I'm here. Okay. Sorry about that. So when I went back and looked over last year's Power of 3 documents, I realized no, I was not near as consistent as I thought I was. And that was a huge aha for me. I was like, I need to do these things every day. It was just something that it clicked for me then after seeing in 2015 how inconsistent I was. And yeah, so if you're anything like me, you probably are thinking and feeling like you're doing more than you're doing. So that's why it's important to track so that you can go back and look and see really what you're doing. But anyways, so at the beginning of the year, that was the first thing that triggered it for me. I went and looked back last year. I was like, hey, I need to do these things every single day. And then I heard, and then I started doing that, but I didn't really, I'll do things and I won't really totally realize what I'm doing and why it's working. And then I'll hear another coach say, yeah, this is what I'm doing and this is how it's managed to work for me. And I'll be like, oh, yeah, that's what it is. That's what I've been doing differently. So I was on a call with Amber Snow a couple weeks ago, actually when we were in Radium, and she had mentioned about having a great big why and having a great big dream is awesome, but wanting to be debt-free 5 years from now is not going to get a fire under your butt today. And it's absolutely true. It's like you can sit there and you can think, well, I want to own this great big house. Maybe I can do that in 5 years, but that's not going to get a fire under your butt today. So what's going to light you up tonight, today, to do what you need to do today? It's the small daily goals. And then I was on another call. I don't even remember which one this was, but they were talking about, I don't remember if it was who was talking or whatever, but I was listening to something. I don't know if it was a book. Anyways, and they were talking about you should be setting daily goals that are things that you have complete control over. So, not Success Club points. That you don't have control over that. You don't have control over if somebody's going to order something, right? You can't control that. What can you control? You can control how many conversations you have. You can control how many new contacts you add. You can control how many invites you send, how many coaching conversations you have. So setting goals around those things, right? So anyway, so what I realized, and this just hit me, just like today when I read Kelly's post in Team Aftershots, and she was asking about, whatever, getting motivated. She has her dream, she has her vision for her future, but it's she just can't get the motivation in the day. And then I realized that's what I've been doing. I've been since the beginning of January, I've been setting these daily goals that have become non-negotiable for me. I'm I need to reach at least 10 new people on Instagram every day, no matter what. Can't go to bed till I've done it. I need to add at least 3 new contacts to Facebook or email every day. Like, can't go to bed unless I've done it. Like, I have these daily goals, and they are 100%, I'm in control of them. It's only up to me and only me if I'm going to reach those goals or not. And yeah, and that's what I've been doing. And because of those daily goals that I've made non-negotiable, I've been more consistent for the last 3 months than I've ever been before. So it works. So that's like the secret to consistency. That's what's been the secret to consistency for me. Obviously, like, you know, you still got to put it on yourself to make it non-negotiable, because things do come up. You're going to have days, you're going to have weeks that like aren't going to go as planned. But if you've made that decision in your mind, like, this is my goal today, like I'm going to get this done, then it's just going to happen. Right. Just have no excuses about it, because excuses are really, and then okay, so now I'm kind of getting into all this stuff that Mike was talking about when he was here. And one thing that, it's funny because he said like the same things over and over and over again. And I was with him the whole time, so I heard it time and time again, which is awesome, because repetition is the key to learning, right? So anyways, so one thing that he told a lot of people is about the stories that we tell ourselves in our head. And I had heard it in, I don't know, The Power of Habit, I think. I don't know, some book I was listening to about how like 98% of thoughts that you're having are stories that you're telling yourself. They aren't actually true. They're not based on truth. They are stories that you're telling yourself in your head. So it's little things like, say you text a friend and they don't text back for like an hour. And then you start thinking, oh, I think they're mad at me. Like, maybe they're mad. Is that based on truth? That's not based on any truth. You're telling yourself that story. It's the same sort of thing with this business. It's like, if you send an invite to somebody, you see that they read the message and they didn't reply, what do you start thinking? You automatically start thinking, oh, maybe I've like pissed them off, or they don't want to do this, or da-da-da-da. Those are stories. That's not based on truth. They haven't told you that they're not interested or whatever, right? So yeah, so Mike's analogy is like, he says, just think of like cotton candy. And there's like the stick that it's on in the middle, and then the cotton candy's all on the outside. And he's like, just think of like the stick in the middle as the truth. And then there's all this fluffy stories all wrapped around it. And that's what it's like in your head right now. You got lots of stories going on in there, but they're all just stories. And you have to just realize that you're just telling yourself these stories that are ultimately just like holding you back, and whatever. So yeah, so I wanted to share that story with you. And then, let me see. Okay, another thing that hit me this weekend is that we all have different starting points. And this, once again, is something that we've heard time and time again. But I have an actual example about it, and I'm not sure if she's on the call. She's not on the call. Okay, well, I'm going to talk about her. So, okay, so anyways, so yeah, so basically it comes down to comparing yourself to others and stuff like that, right? And comparison is the thief of joy. Don't compare yourself to others. And part of the reason that you can't compare yourself to anybody else, whether it's in this business or it's in your fitness or it's whatever it is in your life, is because everybody has a different starting point. And so all you need to be focused on is that you're better than you were yesterday, and that you're better than you were, a month ago, a year ago, whatever. But if you're looking at what other people are doing and accomplishing, maybe in shorter periods of time, you're going to just get distracted. You're going to get down on yourself. You're going to feel like you're not doing it. But as long as you're making progress based on where you were a year ago, whatever, like that's all that matters, right? So yeah, so this came to me, this thought came to me because I was sharing this weekend. I was telling Mike about how proud I am of Aubrey. And Aubrey, like I say, I don't think she's on this call right now. But anyways, I'm so proud of her because she's like, I mean, you don't see her on the leaderboard every week yet. You don't see that she's like getting successful all the time yet. But when she started, first of all, she did this for a couple years. But she didn't actually start treating this business like a business until probably about, 6 months to a year ago. Then that's when she started working it. And when she first started working it, And I'd like be telling her, okay, you got to be talking to people, like you got to be adding friends and sending them messages and stuff. And she was like, oh, like she didn't want to do it. She was scared of starting conversations with people. You know, like she didn't want to send messages, and that was like a struggle for her. She sent me her Power of 3 document, and it was like no conversations. This was actually, okay, this was, yeah, about 6 months ago. And, you know, so I just kept telling her, like, it's just going to get easier the more you do it, and da 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 da. And she was like, yeah, because, you know, you always hear that, but it's actually true. Well, now she sends like, I don't know, like 20 new messages a day. She has this like issue with like her inbox having like 50 unread messages every single day, and then she has trouble keeping up with it or whatever. And it's crazy. Like, she's like, okay, so the conversations are easy now for her, right? Like, she doesn't have any trouble starting those conversations anymore. But now it's like, she's like, okay, I just don't know how to bring in Beachbody now. I just don't know how to steer the conversation to health and fitness. And it's just like, you're going to just take those baby steps. But as long as you're keeping growing and moving forward, like, that's awesome, you know? And she said, like, she's like, I don't feel like I'm doing that great. Or like I've come that far or whatever. And I was like, well, don't you remember like how much you hated sending messages before? And now it's like nothing. And she goes, yeah, I guess. Like, she's like, yeah, I guess I have come quite a long ways. And then she's also like upped her personal development in the last couple of months as well. And so that shines through as well. And it's like, she's gotten more comfortable sending the messages. And then your conversations just get better too, the more you're doing them. So, but if she's comparing herself to another coach who started 6 months ago taking this business seriously, that other coach might have hit Success Club every month since then. So she starts comparing herself to that person who has a totally different background, who maybe wasn't afraid and hesitant to, you know, start conversations with people. Like, you can't even compare. They're two totally different situations, right? So I just wanted to throw that out there. And also, like, you can't put a timeline on it. That's it. Like, if you have set in your mind right now, like, I'm going to try this coaching thing for like a year. And if I'm not making like, you know, 6 figures in a year from now, then I'm not going to do this. But yeah, so you can't put a timeline on it. It needs to just kind of be a decision that's going to work for you. And that's the other thing with Aubrey, since I'm talking about her right now, is that she absolutely is, you know, she's always willing to learn, and she takes feedback, and she's like, she shows up every day, you know, and she's not like putting a timeline on it and whatever, right? Does it get frustrating for her that it's taking longer than she thought it would? Absolutely. But she's still going. It's frustrating for me too. I thought I'd be way further into this business right now, 3 years in for sure. Like, I'm like, I can't believe that I'm like not further than I am right now. But anyways, that happens. So you get better with practice, whatever you need to work at. And it's like step by step. Okay. So then the next thing I wanted to share is person to person. Okay. So I am not good with person to person at all. Like, I'm really super shy, quiet around people that I don't know, which is probably really hard for you to imagine, but I am. Like, I'm comfortable in front of the computer, and I'm comfortable around people I know, but if I'm like around people I don't know, I'm super shy and quiet. I'm the mom at Serena's school who, like, all the parents kind of stand in one area and I stand off to the side with my head down. Like, I don't want to talk to you because I don't know you guys. So anyways, so this was really eye-opening for me because Mike is the total opposite. He's actually built his business mainly person to person. And so I had the ability to actually witness like how he does it. And it is so easy. It's actually so easy. And so I realized too, like, I could sit there and be like, well, it's easy for him because he's just really good at talking to people. But it's like, no, like, it's easy. And it could be easy for anybody. It's maybe easier for him right now because he's been doing it for years. But if I start now just making a point of like, I'm just going to start, you know, trying to start conversations with people as I see them places and whatever, then I'll get better at it and more comfortable with it, right? And the other thing is, yeah, it's basically just kind of get out of your own way and just start doing it. Because it is one of those things that it's like, I mean, sure, you can build a very thriving business just online. I mean, lots of coaches have done it. Lots of successful coaches have done it. But you're kind of missing out, right? Like, I'm on the Calgary Market Council here, and I mean, not to brag or anything, but we run really epic events, like awesome events. Like even Mike was like, this is one of the best events. You guys have an amazing MC. Like you are so lucky to have him here. And like, this is awesome. The energy's high. We get a DJ all the time. Our MC is an actor who's also a 3-star diamond. So he's like, he loves it. And I have like 3 coaches that come. No, 4. And it's like, I need to be getting more of my team to my event. And the only way I'm going to have more of my team at my event is to find more coaches in Calgary. And the easiest way to find more coaches in Calgary is going to be person to person, meeting people while I'm out and about and not being so shy and awkward and weird about it. And then, yeah, and just to remember too that when you hesitate, you're putting yourself first. This goes both with like online, whatever. If you hesitate to share the coaching opportunity with somebody that you think would really rock it or you think could really benefit from it, if you hesitate to share a program with somebody who could really benefit from it, or share Shakeology with somebody who could really benefit from it, it is like the most selfish thing you could do is to hesitate sharing that. You're literally like, you're putting yourself and your feelings first, and you're like just worrying about what they're going to think. And I don't even have this written down, but this kind of reminded me of this. You can't worry about what people think. You're not going to, you can't pay your bills with other people's feelings. Not everybody's going to like you, and that needs to just be totally cool with you, because think about it. You don't like everybody you meet either. That's just how it is. We're different. People are different. And so you can't worry about what people think. And if you worry about like, what am I going to say? I don't know. What am I going to say to the person? What if I say the wrong person, the wrong thing? Just remember that people don't remember what you say. They remember how you made them feel. So then he shared with us the 7 R's. I don't remember what he's like. Yeah, 7 R's. So anyway, so this is kind of the model, like he described it as like a funnel or whatever, the like model that you follow with every new person that you meet. and it's basically like forming or whatever. But first, you have a rapport with that person. So they kind of get to know you. So if it's online or whatever, your rapport with the person initially is like your Facebook profile page or your Instagram feed. That's their like kind of first, their first impression of you, kind of like what, your initial rapport with them. And then you develop a relationship with that person. So that's forming, right? Like that's, finding out about their family, occupation, and recreation. You develop that relationship. So you do your rapport, get a rapport with the person, develop a relationship, and then give them a recommendation. Offer them a recommendation based on what you learned as you were developing that relationship. And then another thing that he said that is very, very true is that when you're messaging back and forth and you're like forming and you're developing a relationship, it shouldn't be like 20 messages back and forth talking about the person's dog. Like it should just be a couple messages, right? Like, oh, so what do you do about work? Da, 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 da. Like just really kind of quick and simple, get to know them, find a need. When you're talking back and forth, that's what you're looking for. You're looking for a need that you can help fill, which is either, fitness, health, financial, like all these things that are like something that pretty much everybody needs help with. Like you're going to find a need in one of those things, and Beachbody can help all 3 of those things. So you're talking to them, you're building that relationship, you're asking about them, you're looking for a need that you can help fill. And then you have the recommendation. So maybe they say, my job really sucks or whatever. Like, I hate my job. I'm so stressed out, da, da, da. Well, did you know that I have, like, there's this opportunity. You could do what I do from home and, you can leave a job. Or I just want to be home with my kids and I hate that I have to go to work. Like, whatever, like that, those are sort of like issues that could come, like problems that the person could bring up that the business side of this thing could fix. And then the fitness and the health things are obviously a little bit more obvious. Like if they say something about, I have about 30 pounds I want to lose or whatever, like something like that, right? So then you make the recommendation. That's the 3rd R. And then retail is the 4th R. So that's retailing. That's like a challenge pack or a program or whatever. And then recruit. So that's like recruiting into the business or whatever. These two sometimes, blend together if you sign up a coach with a challenge pack, whatever. And then retain. So retaining them as a customer or a coach, which is just getting them to really make sure that they see the value in Shakeology. That's really the main thing that comes to retaining. If somebody sees the value in the programs of Shakeology, then that's it. They're a lifer now. They're in for life. And then repeat is the 7th R. So you just repeat this whole thing with the next person that you meet. And yeah, so those are the 7 R's. And then another thing that he said multiple times that he heard from Pete Pena at an event. I guess they had Pete Pena, who was the first millionaire in the club. Like he built the whole Las Vegas market up. If you don't know who Pete Pena is, they had him at an event somewhere, and they were having issues with the tech. They were having tech issues, like the audio wasn't working or whatever. And Pete was getting like super frustrated, and he was ready to just leave. And then he finally stood up on stage, I guess, and he was just like, you know what, guys, like, if this isn't fixed in like 2 minutes, I'm leaving. But all you guys need to know is that they need you more than you need them. And that's all. And it was just like, it's like the best advice you could ever get. They need you more than you need them. And it's absolutely true. Like everybody needs like what you have to offer more than you need them, literally. And it's like, if you enter every conversation with that in the back of your mind, all of a sudden, what do they think of me? I don't want to hurt their feelings. Like that doesn't matter anymore, because they need you more than you need them. So the 3 places that coaches get stuck, and this was another big thing that I was like, that's so true. So he shared 3 places that coaches get stuck. The first place is like in the new coach / emerald, right? So either you just can't seem to get to emerald, or you're an emerald, but you keep kind of falling out of emerald rank, or you're just emerald and you can't seem to get anywhere past emerald. The biggest fix for that is to recruit. Like, if you're stuck at emerald, or if you're stuck at like you're not even emerald, you're just not putting the business in front of enough people. That's all it is. That is all it comes down to. You just need to be putting the business in front of more people. And then because another thing that he was talking about is he was talking about, for whatever reason, a lot of people expect to get like 3 out of 10. Like, you present the business, or you send out, 10 invites to your upcoming challenge group or whatever. Most people apparently expect to get 3 yeses out of 10. I don't expect that, but that's probably just because I've been doing this long enough to know, like, I'm sorry, I don't have that good of an average. And if I don't have that good of an average yet, and I'm 3 years into this, then it's probably unlikely that a newer coach would have that kind of an average. So just like be realistic about it. But if you're stuck at emerald, or you can't get to emerald, you're just not having enough conversations about the business. That's all it comes down to. And a good way to fit this in, if you're not comfortable with like cold inviting random people to the business opportunity, and you don't have very many challengers or customers that you can present it to, even if just for the discount, a good way of doing this, and this is something that's been around for, I don't know, a little while, and so most of you have probably heard of this already, but basically just bring it up to people like before they even buy the challenge pack, because it doesn't cost them anything extra to join as a coach instead of a customer, but then they save 25% on their next month's Shakeology, right? So basically, like, what I typically do is I just, like, if I'm talking to somebody and they're going to buy a challenge pack, and it's all, we've already, like, I already know them and I've made the recommendation and they're like, yeah, I'm in. I just say, okay, so you have 2 ways to order. You can order as a customer. It's going to cost you $140 whatever today. And then your future shipments of Shakeology is going to cost $130 or $155 Canadian. And you'll pay full price on all other programs and products and whatever. Or you can get this challenge pack as a coach. It'll cost the exact same price today. However, you'll save 25% on all future purchases and products. So your future bags of Shakeology will only be $97 American or $116 Canadian. There is a $16 a month business service fee, but you're still saving about $20 a month that way. You can cancel anytime. It's totally cool. Which option would you like to sign up with? Most often they'll say coach. Sometimes they're like, oh no, I don't want any auto, whatever. That's fine. That's totally cool. But at least and this is the thing too, is that it's like, really, like, wouldn't you appreciate somebody like letting you know that, hey, yo, you can do it this way today, and like you're not signed into anything permanently, but you'll save money next month or whatever, right? Like it's kind of curious, I think, instead of just being like, oh, I want to get my commission on their Shakeology next month or whatever. So that's just a little tip about if you are really struggling with putting the business opportunity in front of more people. That's one way to do it. Ultimately, like what I've been doing, you guys, is I just kind of go through like health and fitness, weight loss related hashtags on Instagram. You want to get kind of creative with them because the mainstream ones like fitness and weight loss are filled with coaches and it works people all the time. But you can Google that, or you can go to Takeover and figure that out. But yeah, you just go and find like a fitness account. If you scroll and you don't see any products, it doesn't look like they're already selling something or they're already a coach or whatever, you just send them a message and just say, hey, like I totally love your page. And I love that you're already sharing like healthy tips, recipes, whatever they're sharing. I love that you're sharing your workouts every day. I love whatever about your page. I'm just curious, like, have you ever considered being an online health and fitness coach like me? Because you're already basically doing what I'm doing. And you just send off a bunch of those messages. And that's another way to get those conversations going. But be realistic about it. Remember that like these aren't going to, they're not going to turn into coaches right away. It takes time. The work you're doing today is going to show 30, 60, or 90 days down the road. And B, especially if you're sending like the cold invite, I guess you call it, messages on Instagram, like I just shared about, like you're not going to get, you might get from those 10, say you send 10 of those messages on Instagram, you might get 3 that reply back. Out of those 3, you maybe will get 1. Like might not even be that. Like if you send that message to 30 people, like then you might, I don't know, you might get 2 coaches that sign up in the next 3 months or something. Just have realistic expectations about it, but also know that you're going to get better the more you do it. So the second place that coaches get stuck is at diamond. This is like you've gone diamond, or you can't hold your diamond rank, or like you can't get beyond diamond. The biggest fix for this is just to get out of management mode. And that's another thing that we hear all the time, is that when you go diamond, a lot of people, they go diamond and they go into management mode. So they stop doing their own business. They stop recruiting. They stop starting new conversations. They stop doing all these things because they're like, well, I have these 12 coaches I need to take care of now. And they just kind of put everything into those 12 coaches. And it's like a huge mistake. So if you're not diamond yet and you haven't got to that point, like I'm giving you a heads up right now. Like you don't have to make the same mistakes that myself and others before you have made. So just have a heads up about that. When you go diamond, you're going to want to just like baby your 12 coaches. Don't do it. So basically, and then he said the other place that coaches get stuck is in 1 to 4 star. And once again, that just kind of comes down to going into too much of management mode. You're spending too much time helping your team and helping your coaches and that sort of stuff. And you need to always be finding new coaches, because you're not going to have the same team today or you're not going to have the same team in a year that you have today. And I actually found an old sheet that I had. It's actually right here. I'm not going to like show you guys the names or anything because some of you have been around since then, but it's funny because it's like my leader roadmap worksheet, which is like my top people that I'm like, they're going to go diamond. And there's 5 of them on here and none of them are here anymore. So you never know. So you have to keep adding to your team and you have to keep recruiting. And then he split it up. I know we all hear the 80-20, like spend 80% of your time in phase 1 recruiting, building your own business, and only 20% of your time helping your team. But he actually dove it down a little bit more. And it was like eye-opening for myself and lots of other people. So he says, you should be spending 80% of your time in phase 1. And this doesn't matter if your time for the day is an hour or if it's 5 hours a day. 80% of however much time you have should be spent in phase 1 recruiting. The only time this varies, of course, is if you don't have a very big team or you don't have any team, then obviously you're going to be spending like all your time in phase 1 recruiting. Or if you have a bigger team, like even bigger than my team, because even with the size of my team, like I don't really need to be spending more than 19% of my time helping my team, then, you know, then it'll shift a little bit there, but you always, basically for everybody on this call, you want to be spending 80% or more of your time on phase one, recruiting, 19% of your time spent on helping your team. So calls with your coaches, I don't know, team stuff, posting stuff in your team calls, I don't know, whatever. That's 19% of your time. Or like I say, if you don't have much of a team, then that might not even be there. You only should be spending 1% of your time solving problems. So this was like, when he said this, pretty much everybody was just like, I spend like 85% of my time solving problems. Like, what are you talking about? Yes, you should only be spending 1% of your time solving problems. It's a time trap. That's not, you don't need to be spending a bunch of time in your day solving problems. So yeah, so 80% phase one, 19% phase two, 1% solving problems. If you have no team, it's more like a 99% of your time in phase one, 1% solving problems. And yes. Okay, so that was like, okay, I have 2 minutes left. I'm doing really good. I'm just checking again to make sure that there was nothing else that I missed. He actually wrote notes for me in my notebook. So what else did he say? Oh yes, obstacles are created in your own mind. Oh, and then this was a good question that he asked everybody, was if you, and it's something you guys can think about, and then I'm going to take a screenshot and then we're done because this is going to cut me off. So I want you guys to think about this as soon as we get off this call. If you could remove all your obstacles in your life right now, where would you be in a year? Just think about that. You have no obstacles. You don't have any financial obstacles. You don't have any, I don't know, time obstacle, whatever. Where would you be in a year if you could remove all obstacles in your life? And then remember that obstacles are created in your mind. Boom. I'd be on a beach too, Brianna. Okay, I'm gonna take a screenshot really quick before this cuts me off. So turn your cameras on if they're not. I'll give you guys a couple minutes. I don't know if Debbie's there or if my mom's actually there, so I'm just gonna do this thing. Oh, no camera. Well, isn't that convenient? This computer sucks. Okay, stop chatting for a second so I can do a screenshot. Okay. Ready? 1, 2, 3. All right, guys. Thank you for joining me. Okay. I did smile. That's good. I hope you did the Polly too.